Today I'm painting my front door without removing the hinges. I'm also sharing the paint brand I used and some other awesome paint brands for front doors, the brush I used, which applied the paint beautifully with no brush marks, how to easily remove paint from glass, how to remove 2-day stuck-on painter's tape without peeling or chipping your brand new paint job, and a bunch of other tips. So just let me get set up and I'll be right back. Let's start. Here's the fun part. Here's the basic front door I'm starting with. It's been painted this mellow yellow for maybe over 15 years. The other side of the door is white, and it was really time to give it an updated look. So as I mentioned, I'm going to be sharing how I'm painting my front door without removing it from the hinges and keeping all the door lock hardware on as well. So I'm not a door painting expert, but I painted a ton of furniture, and just out of habit, I did give this door a wipe down and also a really light scuff sanding with a 220 sanding pad. Now, whether that's necessary or not, I'm not sure. I don't think you probably need to do it if you're using the correct paint. Then what I started to do was masking off the hinges with this green painter's tape. Using an X-Acto knife, I actually cut right around the hinges to give it a perfect clean line for when I start painting. I used painter's tape to mask off the door hardware as well. Honestly, this door lock is so old. It's probably vintage by now. I think this is a vintage lock set. However, I do have a brand new one that's ready to install. I wasn't overly worried if I got a little bit of paint on this one, but I thought let's just mask it off to keep everything clean, just so I can demonstrate how great this masking tape trick works. And stay tuned because I have a really, really good tip on how to remove this masking tape without peeling off any paint, even if it's been on there for a couple of days. So for the door hardware, I just let the masking tape kind of overhang in case there was any oopsies. And then I just worked my way around the entire door, masking off any of the rest of the hardware and using the X-Acto knife to cut it perfectly. And apparently green masking tape will not hold this down. So I just masked around it. Like most painting projects, it's the prep that actually takes the longest. So what I did was I threw down a drop cloth, removed the wreath from the door, and grabbed my paint. For this front door, I'm using Valspar's Duramax Paint and Primer Exterior, and the color is called Semi-Sweet. But some other quality door paints include Benjamin Moore's Aura Grand Entrance Alkyd Paint, Sherwin-Williams Emerald Urethane Enamel, and for a more cost-effective approach, Behr Marquee Exterior, and that's just to name a few. But there are a lot of great paints that you could use for your front door, and you do want something very durable because the elements will be hitting the one side of it, or in many cases it will. I actually have a storm screen door, which I could really use your opinion. I don't know whether to remove it or to keep it, but we'll talk more about that at the end of the video. So I went ahead and removed my 3M door hook, and these things are awesome. This one's rated for about 5 pounds, and you just pull that, I don't even know what it is, that tab underneath the hook, and it just pops right off. It removes. So you don't need to make holes in your door at all. I bought a brand new one for my new wreath, which I'll share. And no, this is not sponsored, but if 3M would like to sponsor me, hello. So now for the fun part. I put in my earbuds with some darn good music and I went at it with the paint. And I started by painting the heel of the door. After watching a few YouTube videos, and I will include the one that really resonated with me down in the description down below, so you guys can go take a look at that one as well. The heel is the narrow panel that has the hinges installed, and an easy way to remember this is double H. I'm also using a soft synthetic, is it Zibra? Z-I-B-R-A. I don't know if it's pronounced zebra or Zibra brush, and it's angled, which I found really, really nice brush to use when painting the door. The toe of the door was painted next, and this is the opposite side of the heel where the lock mechanisms are located. Next, I worked on the 4 panels, painting the frame of the panels first and then the interior. If you find your door is moving while painting, adding a door stop underneath will keep it in place, or I just used my foot, but a door stop would probably be an awesome idea. Also, I wanted to mention the first coat is not going to look good. I was not trying to get perfection on the first coat. I was just trying to lay the paint as evenly as possible and you get full coverage. However, the first coat is not going to look pretty, so don't expect it to. I learned this from painting furniture. The first coat is always scary. Once I had the 4 panels completed, it was time to move on to the frame for the glass for the windows. And I have a full video on how to use masking fluid when I painted my French doors. And that's a fluid or a product that you apply to the glass and then it peels right off, so you don't get any paint on the glass at all. However, if you don't want to make the investment, I thought I would do it differently, even though I have leftover masking fluid. I have quite a bit left actually. I thought I'd like to share how easy it is to paint frames or onto the glass and then use a glass scraper to remove the paint off the glass. So I will share how I do that in a bit. I worked my way around the frame of the window, and again, I did get a little bit of paint on the actual glass, but no worries, it's easy enough to remove. At this point, the door was looking pretty scary actually. But it was time to finish it off and do the rest of the remaining door. So what I did was I grabbed the paint and going in the direction of the panels, I painted the remaining of the door in the semi-sweet black paint. And I know I say this with my furniture painting all the time, but I am always amazed at what a different color of paint can do, whether it's for furniture, whether it's for a door, whether it's a wall, interior decorating. Just changing the color of something can give it a whole new vibe and totally new look. Painting around the hardware was really easy. I didn't really worry about anything because there was the painter's tape there. And here's what the finished first coat looked like. Now this is still totally wet. I had just finished painting this. You can see that it's not full coverage, but the second coat, it's awesome. Now I'm not going to show you me applying the whole second coat because the steps are exactly the same as the first, but this door took 2 coats on the front and 2 coats on the back. And here's what it looked like right after I applied the second coat. Way better, and it did give full coverage. I know it's kind of hard to see because the light is trickling in from the screen door, but it did give full coverage and it looked awesome. Now the next day, once everything had dried, and I did do the front and the back of the door, I took a utility knife and I scored right around the frame where the glass was located because I need to remove the paint off the glass, and this is the easiest way to do it without damaging the paint on the actual frame. Once the full frame of this glass was all scored with the utility knife, I take this razor glass scraper, and these are very inexpensive. You can get them for between $4 and $6 off Amazon or at any Home Depot or hardware store, but they work awesome. And I just scrape the paint away, and because I use the X-Acto knife, it's not damaging the paint on the frame at all. After all the paint was removed off the glass, I used some window cleaner and gave it a nice cleaning. To remove all the painter's tape around the door lock and all the hinges and hardware, I did the exact same thing. I used the X-Acto knife. It could be an X-Acto knife, utility knife, and I scored it. I scored right around where the masking tape or the painter's tape was, just to loosen everything up because it will stick. And because it was on there for a couple of days, what I did was I took a heat gun. Now you could use a hair blower, hair dryer, anything that adds a little bit of heat, but heat guns work awesome for any sort of sticky substance. So I just took the heat gun, which loosens up all the adhesive, and then it just comes right off. This will ensure that it doesn't pull any of the paint off. You might be left with a little bit of tape still stuck on around there, but it will not chip the paint or pull any of that tape off. It works like a charm. So I added another 3M hook, and I found this cute little fall wreath at Marshall's, I think I found it at, and I added it to the door. I think it looks so good against this semi-suite. Later that evening, I hung a cute picture I found at HomeSense, a shelf that I found at Home Depot, and I am loving the new look. So just as a reminder, here's the before. And here's the after. What do you think? I'm glad I didn't go stark black because that would have been a little harsh for my taste. But this reads like a warm charcoal or soft, warm black. I think it looks much more modern and definitely more elegant than the yellow. And here's how it looks on the interior. It matches the French door to my office perfectly. And even though my little foyer or entryway is super small, at least it's starting to have a little bit of character to it. I'm going to keep working on it and figure out a little bit more decor ideas and how to fix it up even better. But this is a great start. And I posed a question on Salvaged Inspirations, hoping that about the screen door. Should I keep the screen door? Should I remove the screen door? And I was hoping that I would get a more definite answer, but it was really a 50-50 split. You guys, and you came up with some great points over on the blog. But any of you here on YouTube, I'd love to hear your thoughts on whether to remove the screen door or keep this. I know it's called screen door, storm door in the US, but I don't know. Let me know your thoughts on that. I'd love to hear. So I hope you enjoyed today's video and you found some of these tips helpful. I mean, if I can do it, you can do it. You don't need to remove the door to give it a good paint job. And I'd like to hear what you think down below about this front door makeover. Should I keep the screen door? Should I get rid of it? Should I paint it? I don't know. Anyways, I'd love to hear your comments down below. Feel free to like and subscribe here on YouTube. You can also find me over at salvagedinspirations.com, where I have over 500 furniture painting tutorials teaching you how to make your furniture beautiful. Until next time, have a great week. Bye, guys.